Hi y'all, it's Charlene from the Crafty Art Shack, and today we're going to be making some gnomes. And you guys, we got a special one. I haven't seen anybody make one like this at all. So let's get to the craft desk and get started. Let's go. All right, you guys, we're here at the craft desk, and today we're going to be doing two gnomes. So the first one, we've got these were ice skate ornaments, and you have to get two of them. And then you're going to need a sock. And what I'm showing you here is where I've got my fur from. It was on one of the Dollar Tree stockings for gnomes, and I just peeled it up. And some of the red came off the back of it with it, but it's okay. It's still going to work. Then you're going to need one of those dish drying mats in the buffalo check and some long grain rice. And you're also going to need some stuffing. If you don't fill yours all the way up with rice, I chose to put part rice and part stuffing in mine. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to open up our sock. Now you guys, the easiest way to do this is go get a glass. Don't be lazy like me and just hold it here in your hand thinking you're going to be able to pour it nice and neat. I end up only spilling it a little bit, but it's easier if you take that sock and just put it over a glass. You see, I had to grab it because I had to get some more of that rice up there. And then you just fill it up. Okay, you guys, after I put enough rice in for the bottom of it to be weighted, I filled mine the rest of the way up with pillow stuffing or fiber fill. I use fiber fill in this one, but you could take an old pillow and stuff this with this as well. And I just keep stuffing this until I get enough of it in there to fill it up to my desired height. Then the next thing that I did is I got me a piece of jute rope, and it doesn't matter what you use here because it's not going to be seen, and I just tie this into a little knot so that my stuff's not going to be coming out. Now I didn't worry about cutting the jute rope off or the top of my sock off because I'm going to take and just let it sit inside the hat. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work on my little boots. And what I'm showing you there is where I'm going to put the glue, because I'm going to glue both of these boots together so that they stay nice and sturdy underneath my gnome. And I'm getting out some glue sticks and stuff, you guys. I'm sorry about that. And I'm going to just take, and I have a time with this glue gun because my glue sticks don't want to go in it all the way sometimes. But I'm going to just take and put some glue right here along the edge, and then I'm going to take those two boots and just stick them together and make sure they're even, matching toe to toe and heel to heel. You see what I'm doing? And then I'm going to take up at the top and put a little bit of glue up at the top of the little boot. Now I'm showing you that I glued them in there. You guys, these had little ice skate things on the bottom of them, and I just took those ice skate things off, and I took those little stuffing pieces off the top because they're not going to be needed, and I put glue up here in between the two so that the two boots stay together. And then once you've got them glued together, this is what they look like, and this is going to be so cute. And my little bells jingle. That's what I was showing you there. Okay, now I'm going to take my sock, and it's weighted at the bottom with the rice, so I'm going to squish it out because I want him to have a little pot belly. And I'm not worried about the top of the stuffing, but I want to make sure that there's enough rice. When you fill this up, you want to make sure there's enough rice that when you put it down, it spreads out across those boots and kind of holds its form. So what I'm doing is putting glue in the center of the boots first, and then I'll come back and put glue down along the edges to hold that sock out to the side so that it sits like I want it. Now, if you don't glue those edges on the outside, it's not going to stay sitting like that. It'll move on you. Okay, now that I've got that all done, I'm going to pull out my little beard that I took off of my stocking. And what I'm doing is kind of looking to see how much I need. And I'm just rolling it up and sticking it on there because I don't want to hang too far down on his boots. And I want it to be just right. So I kind of see that the bottom of it's already pointed, so I'm not going to mess with that. And you could cut this with scissors, but if you want to save that top piece for something else, you're going to need to cut this with an X-Acto knife or a razor blade or something. Now what I'm doing is kind of marking out, because I want it kind of curved, to curve around the edge of the boot. And I'll take my little razor blade and cut that, or X-Acto knife and cut that. Okay, when you start cutting with this X-Acto knife, you're not wanting to cut all the way through to the fur. You just want to cut that top layer so that when you spread it apart, you're getting that fuzzy look, and you're just clipping the fibers. And that's why I'm having to go back and just kind of nick those fibers, because I don't want and I'm having to go around that piece that had the red on it. That red was from the stocking, and I wasn't worried about it because if I use it on another gnome, it's not going to show anyway. So see how you end up getting that furry edge? You just save that piece for the next time. And then you're ready to go with your little beard for your guy. Before I glue that beard on, I'm going to go ahead and make his little hat. So here's how we're going to make his hat. Now this stuff works really good for making his hat because it's going to make it stand up, because it's one of those drying things that's kind of got the foamy stuff in it, or whatever you call that stuff. But anyway, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to cut off. You save that little piece right there, because that's what we use for our little candy canes on our gingerbread house. And so what I'm doing here is deciding how much I actually need, and I end up only cutting off a third of this mat. So when you fold it out, it's got 3 sections. Cut one of those sections off. Okay, after I've got it cut, I'm going to take and fold this in a triangle, and I'm going to put some glue down. Now, no, my little spot is not going to match up evenly with the edge, but I'm doing this on purpose. I want that edge that has been cut inside my hat, and I want that edge that has the sewed edge on the outside of my hat. So I'm just holding this down until the glue dries there, and then the next thing I'll do is I'll go up to my point, and there you go. I pulled it back down into range, and I'm going to put some glue up there in the top so that my point stays nice and tucked in like I want it to. And make sure you get your fingers, because I got hot glue all over me in this project. I don't know why, but I guess even with those little fingers on, I ended up getting my hands stuck in it. Okay, after I got my little hat right where I wanted it, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I got that salvage edge, and I'm going to cut this in a 3-inch strip. And that salvage edge, or the edge that has the sewing on it, I'm showing you I cut it in a 3-inch strip. That edge that has the sewing on it, that's the edge that you want showing, and you want the other edge to, now I'm putting him on my little gnome to see how I want him set up, but I got to cut it off. So I'm going to cut straight across there, and I know my piece is up like that, but that's because that's the way I'm going to decorate my hat. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. Now I'm going to get ready to put on my piece of microfiber towel. That's going to be my brim of my hat, and I'm going to put glue down, and I'm going to start up here, and I want it to be kind of like I don't know how to describe this, but I want it to be, see how that hat's got that little piece that comes up? I want my band on my hat to be like that too. I don't want it just going straight. I don't want mine looking like everybody else's, so I'm going to make mine different. So I folded my piece of microfiber towel in with the side that has the stitching facing up. Now the stitching, the inside of that is where the raw cut is. So I'm going to go all the way around this little hat, gluing it down. And then when I get back to the front side, you're going to see how I finish this off, because I want it to kind of look like it's up underneath. The other part of the hat is coming up around it. So watch how I put this down, because this is the look that I'm going for. And really I should have started there first and went all the way around, but I think it turned out cute just like it is. So I'm going to let it overlap on the top of that, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to end my glue. I'm going to put some glue on the inside right here, because this is where it's going to end, and then I'm going to glue it down to the back of my hat. Then when I get back here to the back of my hat, I'm going to want to make sure I trim that off, and then I'm going to make sure that I have this glued down. Both layers need to be glued down at this point, because you don't want it flopping open. Yeah, and I stuck that thing on my finger because I got with the hot glue gun. Now, there's how my little hat's going to look. Isn't that cute? Now I'm going to take 3 buttons, and these buttons do not match. I got 3 different size buttons. I'm going to start with the bigger one at the bottom, and then I'm going to glue the next size up or down on next. You'll see what I'm doing in just a second. I'm going to put all 3 buttons on. One's going to go on the white. And that hot glue, man, I don't know what it was today. I was just having a time with the hot glue. And there you go. Got all 3 of them glued in. And I'm showing you that edge is open, so you're going to want to go back in there and add some more hot glue in there, just so that it stays closed and doesn't open up over time. Now that we've got the hat done, we're going to glue on his little beard. And I made sure his beard came to a point where it was lined up in the center with the center of his feet. And I'm going to just take and glue that down. You guys, this is starting to come together. It's so cute. I just had fun making these. I don't know why I put it off for so long, because I never really was into making the gnomes, but when I made one and made it my own, it turned out cute. I really like it. So right here, I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the center of this, and then I'm going to flip it around and grab that other side right there and glue it down. All right, you guys, here's where I really made this gnome my own, because everybody uses wooden beads or pom-poms. Well, I thought my little gnomes were out in the cold so much, his little nose turned red. So I'm going to give him one of them little berries, and I think this made my little gnome look just adorable. I'm going to put his hat on, see where I want I'm making sure I covered up his little beard. And I'm going to see where I want that little berry to be on there. Oh, you guys, this is going to turn out so cute. So I'm going to keep adjusting it, and then I'll glue that berry down, and I'm going to fold his hat down. I'm looking to see if I want to put one of those berries there, and I decide I'm not going to, because I think that down there for his nose is where that's going to be the cutest. So I'm going to go back to work on the hat. Yeah, I'm going to try looking at that again. I'm going to ditch that idea. Okay, so I'm going to work on his hat some more. I think it needs some embellishment. So I'm going to get out this wired jute rope, and I'm going to use it on my little hat. And I cut about a 12-inch piece. Now what I'm going to do is gather the hat up there at the very tip, and I'm going to wrap this around. But then once I get it wrapped around, I decide that I'm going to move that to the back of the hat, because you'll see why in just a minute. So I'm going to twist it around on the back of the hat, and I'm trying to get everything done on my hat before I put this on him. Now I'm going to take that and fold it down, and when I fold it down, I'm going to hot glue that down. Okay, you guys, what I'm doing here is that little plaid piece, buffalo plaid, came off of that pick, and I'm going to wire it right onto that jute wire rope I got there. And then I'm going to cut off some leaves And I'm going to take and glue that down as well onto this. And what I'm doing is I'm just figuring out where all I want to do all of my embellishing at. And I'm going to glue that down, and then I'll add some little red berries there, the teeny tiny red berries. Okay, you guys, the next thing I'm going to do after I get my little leaf in there, then I'm going to take and put some glue on the bottom side of that and glue it down to my hat. And I know I still got those wires sticking out, but you'll see why I got them sticking out in just a minute. So I'm going to adjust that and wait for my hot glue to dry. And once it's dry, then I'm going to take a pencil and I'm going to put that little jute wire rope on there, and I'm going to twist it around and just giving it that rustic look and twisting it around and making it look like a spring. I guess that's what you're going to call it. But I love doing this with the jute rope, wired jute rope, because I just think it adds so much character to your projects. My little wire came out, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to just cut it off, and I'm going to leave that looking like that. Now I'm going to get these little red berries, and I'm going to take and glue them in there just like that. Ain't that cute? I'll go back and glue those in. Now I'm going to stick my little hat on my little gnome guy, and I'm going to see how far up I really need to put him on there. And my piece was still trying to pop up because the glue wasn't dry, so I put a clip up there. But now I'm gonna, you see, I gotta add more glue. I need to own stock in the glue company because I used a lot of glue on this little guy. So you better buy one of those bags from the Dollar Tree. And then I'm gonna stick his little nose in there. Oh, you guys, I think this is too cute. And put lots of glue on that, and then I'm going to stick that down, and I'm going to have to hold it there for a few minutes, but then I'm going to come in and put some more glue on the side of my hat to tack it down on both sides. I'm going to stand him up and fluff out his little beard, and he's all done. On to the next one. Okay, for this next one, I took a mop head and I cut off half of the mop head. And then I'm going to take one strand and I'm going to take and start gluing these, put on my little fingers again because I don't want to get that glue on me. And you see it's still on there. It still got me. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm just gluing this along the beard. Or, well, not along the beard, but along the string, because what we're doing is making our beard for our second little gnome. You guys, you got to watch this one all the way to the end because he ends up being too cute. Okay, so I glue one layer on just like this. But you guys, I had to get my little red mat out because the glue was starting to stick to my cutting mat and I don't want that to get all messed up. So the first layer has 12, the second layer has only 10, and I'm putting it in between every other one that is there. I'm not being too precise with it, but I'm making sure that I don't put it over the outside one. And then after I get done with this part, then I'm going to trim it up and set it aside. The next thing I'm going to do is I got these two little ornaments. They come in a 2-pack, so that's good. Because our first gnome, we had to buy each one separate. I don't know why I'm worrying about taking off this tag. I was having a time with it. But you just need to cut off those little things that are holding it on that hang the ornament. And then what you're going to do is glue these together just like we did the first one. And you're going to glue them at the sides and at the top. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is set our little boots to the side. And we're going to take this little ski ornament. Now we want to be really careful when taking this apart because we don't want to damage any of the pieces. So you'll see I used a ice pick to take this apart, and I'm taking my little scissors and I'm trimming it, trying to be really careful. Now they put this together really well. I was really surprised because I couldn't even get that jute rope out of there, but you want to make sure you save your little ski poles. Don't break them. You got to be really careful with this because they do want to break. And all of this will pop apart. Get you some pliers and take those staples out and make sure your little things come apart. And it's okay if you have marks on the skis right there because you'll see why in a minute. Now after I got everything apart, I cleaned it all up, and then I'm going to take my little boots and I'm going to glue them onto the skis. But I want to make sure all my little snowflakes and stuff aren't covered up, so kind of gauging where I need to put that. And when you put the second ski on, you kind of want to make it even with the other ski. And you notice I kind of turned them a little bit cockeyed, or whatever you call that. That's what I call it, cockeyed. In other words, they're not straight, but they're even. And I put them down, and it covered up all of those little bitty holes and stuff that were on them. You guys, this little dude is so cute. It is so cute. Okay, I'm going to set those to the side, and I'm going to fill up my little black sock with, now I did cut the top of my black sock off, and I filled it with rice and filled it with a fiber fill just like I did the other ones. Now the top of my sock, I cut it in half. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these things. What I'm doing is I'm making his arms, so I'm going to glue these together and right sides together, and then I'm going to turn it inside out. And then once I turn them inside out, I'm going to take me some of that polyfiber fill and roll it up in a little tube. And then I'm going to take my pencil and stuff it down. Now I did glue that end shut and left one end open. And these are going to be my little arms for this little dude. He just turned out too cute. See there, I'm gluing the end of that closed. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that stocking, and I cut off the part that's the top of the stocking. And what I'm doing is I'm checking, because I need I'm making his mittens. So what I did is I took and I double folded the material, and then I'm cutting them out in the shape of his little mittens. Now you'll see, if you cut it on the fold, you only have to make part of the mitten I'm showing you. I had to cut that off to make it look straight. Now see how that's folded right there on one side? If you do that, then you only got to glue that one side and then fold it back over on itself. And I was going to turn these inside out, but because of the type of material it wasn't going to fray, so I just left it just like that. And I do that for both of these little mittens. I don't know if I explained that quite right, but I cut both of those at the same time so they look the same. So I cut it, I folded it, and then I folded it again and cut it. Now what I'm doing here is I'm taking the microfiber towel and I'm cutting me a little strip off, and I'm going to stuff I'm looking at it to see how much I'm going to need for each one. I'm going to take some fiber fill and stuff my little mittens. You guys, I'm sorry, I was off screen. I moved off screen to do some of this. I didn't realize my camera wasn't in place. And I decided my little stuff that goes around the mittens was too wide, so I cut it in half and stuffed that other mitten. Okay, after I get my mitten stuff, I'm going to glue the mitten down to one side of the arm, and then I'm going to wrap my little microfiber fur around. And when I wrap it around, it's going to make that mitten look like it's all the way on both sides of my little arm. And I'm going to move all the glue strings out of the way, and then I'm going to make sure I glue this down really good right here. I went back and put more glue in because I really didn't glue that side. It just stuck because of the glue that I had on the mitten. And when you glue these, when you glue your second one, you're going to want to make sure both of your thumbs are facing up. So look at your little arm so that both of your little thumbs are pointing upwards. Okay, then I'm going to set those to the side, and what I did with my beard is I untwisted the little mop pieces and put them on, and now I'm looking to see where I want my beard to sit, and I'm going to put that on before I glue his little arms on. So I've got the beard where I want it, and then I'm going to just reach around the back and glue it on. Okay, after I get his little beard glued in place to where I want it, then I'm going to next get me some of those little berries. Actually, they're large berries. And I'm going to make his nose out of this too, because I think my little gnomes have been out in this cold, wintry snow, and they are cold, and their little noses are just as red as they could be. So I thought these little berries would make it too cute. Okay, so the next thing I did is I went ahead and put my red sock on. This is going to be his little gnome hat. And I took and pulled it down over his beard and put a little cuff right there. Sat him on top of these, but I'm still not gluing him down yet because I want to see where everything's going to be. And while I got him sitting there, I'm going to grab me some of that microfiber towel, and I'm going to cut it in a 2-inch strip. And I'm going to fold it in half just like I did for the other gnome that I did, except for his was a 3-inch strip. This is a 2-inch strip because this gnome is a little bit smaller. Now, I can't tell you how long these pieces are because it depends on how much you fill your gnome up with fiber fill and rice. Now, I put the rice in the bottom of them to make sure that they are weighted onto my little boots, and I could have filled it with fiber fill, but I just thought that the rice would be better. So after I get his little band put on, then I take and pull that red piece up over the edge of the band that's frayed so that it doesn't fray anymore. And now I'm going to take my little berry gut. You guys, this little dude turned out too cute. I'm going to take my little berry and glue it in for my nose. And you know you got to glue on each side of those because it wants to pop up on the sides, and you got to sit there and hold it until it I'm having problems with that darn glue gun again. I'm going to have to get me another one. I'm going to hold it down and till it gets good and dry. If you don't hold it, it'll just pop back up and leave you a messy glue mess. Okay, you guys, after I did finished his little brim on his hat, I took some red and white baker's twine and tied me a little bow up there, and then I'm going to trim off the ends of it, and then I'm going to trim the top. Look at that little guy. Isn't he cute? Oh, I haven't even got him all together yet, and he's just cute. Okay, so I cut his little top of his little hat off, and then I'm going to take the top of that hat and I'm going to just start cutting it until I get a bunch of little frayed pieces up there, because I want to kind of look like a little pom-pom up there, I guess. That's what you call it. I'm not sure. Okay, now I'm going to take me some leaves, and I'm embellishing his hat. So I'm going to get me all my bits and bobs out, and I got me a leaf. I got me some Christmas tree stuff here. It's a piece of a Christmas tree, and then a pine cone, and I'm going to glue, no, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to glue the pine cone in there. But you need a pine cone that fits for the size. Okay, after I get that piece glued into his hat, I've got him sitting back up on top of his little boots. And I'm going to take his little arms and I'm going to trim them down to where they fit out where the skis would come out to the tip of the skis. because I just think this is going to be too cute. And when you glue these on, you want to make sure you got the thumbs facing upwards. So when you I'm rubbing off all the fuzzies. I'm going to put some glue on both sides, and then I'm going to lay the little gnome. You don't want to glue him to your skis yet because you got to put these arms on. So I'm going to glue that up under there, and I'm showing you that I got the thumbs facing upwards, and then I'm going to go to the other side, and this thumb has got to be facing upwards as well. So you want to put glue on both sides of that and stick it up under the hat. And see how his thumbs are facing upwards? That's what I'm talking about. Because we're going to need them facing upwards to put on, to attach everything. Okay, now that we've got that done, we're going to take and put glue all the way around our little tops of our little boots. And there I go with that glue gun again, having problems with it. And we're going to glue the top of him down to... I had to pull the beard out of the way because my beard is still too long. I'm going to have to trim that up at some point. But right now, I'm not worried about trimming it up. I'm going to just take and stick him down. And I push him down. And look at that little red line across that socket just matched up. Really cute with this. And it looks like it was meant to be. Now I'm going to take my little beard and lay it down in front of it. And I'm going to trim off. I'm holding it all together because I'm going to trim it off because it's way too long. Because I'm going to trim it to where it covers his little pot belly, but it's going to be short enough that it shows his boots. After I get his beard done, you see how his little thumb is? You need that thumb there. I'm going to take that ski pole, put it in his hand, and then I'm going to put hot glue across the thumb and across the ski pole, and then I'm going to close his little thumb up onto the... I'm going to get my fingers out because I don't want to get burned again. And you take and close them up just like that. See that? Oh, this little guy's so cute, you guys. And then after that's dry, I'm just pinching it and make sure it's in place. After that's dry, then I'm going to take that little ski pole and I'm going to glue it to the edge of his ski, the tip of it. And I glued the other little ski pole in the same way I did the other one. And then the second one, I just stuck it in his boot. And then I attached the little bow from the ornament and the little ski lift sign into his hat. Guys, we're back from the craft desk and here's these cute little gnomes. Didn't they just turn out adorable? And this is our one little guy. And you guys, I didn't put arms on him because I wanted him to be like this. I have a special place he's going. But if you want to put arms on him, there's enough of this left over to make the arms for him and his little mittens, or socks with this for the mittens. But you guys, I think that just turned out too cute. Okay, we got one more, and this is the special one. Okay, here we go. This is my little ski gnome, and I know somebody who's going to be excited to get this one. You guys, didn't that just turn out too cute? Got some little fuzzies on there I have to clean up. But other than that, I think these are just adorable. You guys, that'll do it for this episode. Oh, I'm going to leave him in here. He's just too cute. All right, y'all, that'll do it for this episode of the Crafty Art Shack. And you guys, guess what? We're at our 250 subscriber mark and plus. So we're going to be doing the giveaway on our next video. So be tuned to find out if you're the one that has won our $20 gift card that we're giving away. You guys, that'll do it for this episode of the Crafty Art Shack. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, and all of those other places. And you guys go check out our website. If you need to see our favorite tools that we use, they're listed on the website. You guys, we'll see you later. Thanks for subscribing. We love you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye.
I'm going to make some gnomes, because we'll be gnome for Christmas. Let's get to the simple, somewhat, I would say, till you get to making the hats. That. I messed it up. You. Yeah, we got a website too, and that shows your favorite tools. It shows our favorite tools. Thanks for subscribing. We love you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye.